Get out of that mirror. You've been in the mirror all day. Can you go more than 5 minutes without looking in the mirror? These are things people say to the typical teenager, right? Not this one. Shaved head, blemished, bruised face, skinhead scratched permanently across my chest. It was hard to see the hurt looking back at me. At 16, I was drained and shamed by the things that had brought me to throw these scarred fists at myself in that mirror at the boxing club by the railroad tracks. And it wasn't my first time to face this opponent. The first time, I had just driven a brick through the skull of my abusive boyfriend in broad daylight on a busy street. What better time to take my roommates, his prison-schooled friends, up on their suggestion for me to learn a martial art, something that would teach me respect for fighting, for myself, for the world. I kept going back to that combat gym I had escaped to on my own schedule. I was usually too drunk to show up for class, so when I did show up, Master Che would send me to do some work in the mirror. And it was work to look in the mirror. I was afraid that if I looked right at myself, I would reveal who I really was, that bloodthirsty wolf in a borrowed white gi. But in actuality, I wasn't perceived as a threat by any of my new fighter friends. Despite my greatest effort to puff up into that big, bad, unapproachable wolf, they saw through to the hurts and the fears I tried to conceal. And they really wanted to see me succeed. Those gladiators at the boxing club showed me their ways, including skipping rope, throwing and defending various punches, mitt work, road work, and yes, shadowboxing in that great big mirror. When it was noticed, as is the way with a boxing club, that I was bruised without sparring, that I was tired without the honest sweat of a completed session, I wasn't cast out by my new gang. I was taken aside by a heavyweight champion. The Captain America of New England boxing, Anthony Reed, was a heavyweight champion on a pedestal, I thought at least as tall as those fighters I had seen on ESPN. I wanted what he had. He said we were going to go to a meeting where people like me, who were sick and tired, had learned how to get well. Well, there weren't any large mirrors to face at these meetings, but I did have to face the reflection of myself in the mirror of these people's eyes. And I learned how to see myself as an athlete and an alcoholic. So just as I had done the road work, the mitt work, the footwork, and the mirror work, I began the inner work that would even save my life. Boxing and this inner work went hand in hand, and I practiced both with as much honest effort as I could muster until I didn't even have to fake either anymore. I could look down the long line of my jab over my wrapped and deftly clenched fist into the purity that had been trained into these eyes over those months. And all that work paid off in my right to fight in the ring for the first time. And I lost twice. But I kept going back to do that work. And I won my next 5 and earned a New England Golden Glove title. I would wear my New England Golden Glove jacket while shadowboxing just to smile at myself in the mirror and flaunt my new wardrobe of puffed up success. But some things never change, and mirror work is one of them. I had earned the nickname Wolverine for my tenacity in the ring, and I thought that darkness couldn't threaten me anymore. I was on the front page of the newspaper. I was in a healthy relationship. I got my license back, and I was driving a bitchin' Camaro. Plus, I was a boxing champion. I had that darkness beat. But the reflection I now saw after going to fewer meetings, taking a few puffs, and then a few tokes, moving back into my old stomping grounds and beginning to meddle with street life again, revealed the truth that I was straying from the path of the sober champion back into darkness. It was my coach, Bob Russo, who would bail me out of jail when no one else would. And I had to pay penance in the mirror that week, as the question he had asked me rang in my head to begin each new round. Who would I become? I kept going back. And I had to call on that tenacity of the Wolverine just to keep going. That was the hardest thing I had ever done in my life, to look at that reflection. Luckily, there was another reason to come back. Women's boxing had been introduced on a national stage of competition. And I had a new Captain America to help lead the way. Lisa Caronia, as a female national champion, was more of the Wonder Woman type. And she would lead the way with her conduct as a mentor and friend, as we traveled to many national competitions, with her often winning the gold in her weight class, and in my weight class, I won the bittersweet silver medal. Close, but so far away. I was so driven in that mirror now, I wanted that gold. I had to see myself as down, but not out. In that moment, I had been Tyson as he bit Holyfield's ear. I was Duran as he uttered those awful words, no mas. In 2006 to 2010, I would win only as high as silver medals nationally. Some bronze too, but it was those silvers that really drove me to keep going. And in 2008, in August, I took my last drink. In July 2011, I would wear my National Golden Gloves title belt for the first time. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And in this case, it was the mirror that didn't much change its requirements of my newly sober life. It demanded the same commitment, the same effort, and the same exact work that had brought me this far. Then, when I repeated that National Golden Glove victory and wore the gold medal again in 2012, I knew that it was the voices of self-hatred that I had victory over round after round that had truly earned me this title of champion. I knew I had faced far worse things in the mirror than merely a silver medal when I wanted a gold. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, physical abuse, self-abuse, and cutting, starving, or binging and purging. I had faced far more awful words from that mirror. You aren't deserving of success. You aren't deserving of love. You're not even deserving of being alive. Addicts like you don't have a future. It was because I kept showing up under those lights that burned hotter than the lights above a ring in a championship match. It was because I saw that light inside, and I grew that light into a great flame. I am now known as the Phoenix. So I say, keep coming back. Stay in that mirror as long as it takes. It will hurt, and the work can be really hard. But stay in that mirror round after round. Keep getting up until you win.